the Chad and Tyrone, why women run to this guy. Now, the Chad or Tyrone is often aloof. He doesn't have to show any mental acumen, right? He can be shallow. He can be selective sexually, but he doesn't necessarily try to be sexually selective. He often just gets the best of the best thrown at him. The Chad and Tyrone is often secure and insecure at the same time. We'll go over that characteristic, but he's secure and insecure at the same time. See, the Chad and Tyrone is a person who doesn't have to try. He's the one naturally in the culture, in the world, right? In the world, in the what do you call it? In the natural sphere, that he makes her ovaries backflip. He makes her ovaries flip. This woman naturally wants to reproduce with this man.
Thank
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, sorry.
I kind of like you, like in general. Okay, could I join you guys, or if you don't mind, or we can just trade off like days or something?
I'm not even from around here.
Oh, me neither. So that's perfect. I could just. I'm from San Diego. Okay, I can do long distance though.
Welcome guys to RP Experience, and before I get started, hit the like button, give you a second to do that, and to subscribe. Thank you very much. If this is your first time here, welcome, both men and women. I have to educate men on how to maneuver in this dating world. You know, I'm not concerned about the Pookie and the Ray Rays or the Gumps and stuff like that. You guys just have to figure out your own way and come back this way eventually. You know, I'm not even really talking to Chad and Tyrone either, and that's what this show's going to be about today. The different types of men. But however though, this could be a really long video, so I'm going to do one type of man per video. So today we're going to be talking about the Chad and Tyrone. I'm pretty sure women, females, ladies, you guys have heard some of these terms in some of my videos, or have heard it with other guys that use it. You know, basically a Chad, which is normally a white guy. Tyrone is normally a black guy, but you know, it could be other nationalities of guys that have that certain name that signifies the peak of male evolution. Anyway, that is a way to point out those types of men that make women just do this.
Let's see who you are. And take off your disguise. And flick. Oh, flick too hard, damn it!
Should we help them? And eventually.
So Thor is a fictional character, but the actor that plays him, I would consider him a Chad. You know, well built, over 6 feet. I think he's like 6'5" or something. Muscle. Now the thing is though, a Chad doesn't always have to be a muscular specimen. He could be a musician. You know, I know a lot of you ladies like that. I think it's K-pop or something. That Asian group. You know, in a way they are Chads because they are drawing most of the female attention. And that's the thing about Chad or Tyrone. You know, they don't have to really try that hard. They just do what they love. You know, whether it's playing basketball or running a football or catching a football or throwing a football. You know, these guys have been gifted with a talent that just by that talent alone, and usually they do have looks on their side, you know, and that's why I be forgetting to say sometimes when I be saying that women go for money and status. You know, I keep forgetting looks because I know height plays a part in there. You know, I always feel like women is not as pressed on looks as men are, but these days, probably because women can make their own money, they do think more about looks. You know, it has to be that way. Anytime you have a woman like Lizzo thinking that she could get a Chris Evans, and who knows, maybe he might have said yeah, but I know if I was him, you know, you have to look at things like this. I mean, that's why a lot of times I feel like men are a little bit more realistic, you know, in their pursuit of women. The only thing sometimes, like the thing I didn't know is how many men are in their DMs or in their friend zone or in their orbit trying to get them. That sometimes is the murky part of who is your competition. But with women, you have to understand, if a man is a Chad or Tyrone, he can get any woman that he wants, you know. And unfortunately, because men are usually weak to their, rather males are usually weak to their S drive, you know, they probably will smash and bag almost anything, you know, because I'm pretty sure in Drake's case that he's been with a lot of women. You can't tell me all of them were models or very attractive women. I'm pretty sure there are some teddy bears in here, or you know, real slender chicks or something. So pretty sure he has a real assortment of the women that he has been with. But yeah, just lost my train of thought for a second. Anyway, Coach Greg Adams really covered this really well. He does those 2 to 3 hour videos, so I'm not going to cover that whole video. But fortunately, this is one of the few times that he's sectioning some stuff off, not on purpose, but because he's talking about different types of men, I'm going to section it off. So anyway, we're going to be talking about Chad and Tyrone, and I'm going to let him explain it to you a bit better than what I could, even though I think I got the basics right.
Chad and Tyrone. Show it. There it is. Chad and Tyrone. Chad and Tyrone. So that is the first form of man that women create. All right. And now you're going to say, Coach, how do women create Chads and Tyrones? Aren't Chads and Tyrones created? Well, let me start right here. Let me go ahead and give you a Chad and Tyrone. There's a Chad. All right, there's a Tyrone. There he is right there. There's Tyrone. Shout out to Tyrone. Thanks for joining us today. Let's give Tyrone a round of applause. He's going to represent our Chad or Tyrone. Now, this is how Chad and Tyrone operates. All right, this is what happens. This is the characteristics of a Chad or Tyrone. Normally a young man. Normally a young man between the ages 16 and 26. He's genetically gifted. He might be athletic. He might be talented, aka a musician, aka physically talented. He's often aloof. Chad is non-discreet, all right, non-discreet. He doesn't hide anything. Everything's kind of an open book, especially how he deals with women. Women see him dealing with other women, and they will ultimately say, well, I want to deal with him too because I believe I'm better than that woman, all right? And there's an open competition for Chads and Tyrones. Now, this might happen as early as middle school, high school, and etc. So big man on campus in college, the best football player or basketball player, wrestler, baseball player, surfer, whoever it is on high school campus. And so we get to learn first, before everything else happens, the Chad and Tyrone, why women run to this guy. Now, the Chad or Tyrone is often aloof. He doesn't have to show any mental acumen, right? He can be shallow. He can be selective sexually, but he doesn't necessarily try to be sexually selective. He often just gets the best of the best thrown at him. The Chad and Tyrone is often secure and insecure at the same time. We'll go over that characteristic, but he's secure and insecure at the same time. See, the Chad and Tyrone is a person who doesn't have to try. He's the one naturally in the culture, in the world, right? In the world, in the what do you call it? In the natural sphere, that he makes her ovaries backflip. He makes her ovaries flip. This woman naturally wants to reproduce with this man. Oftentimes, a Chad will get caught up if he's young and dumb, busting nuts all up in these women, right? And creating children. He doesn't necessarily do that. He doesn't want to do that, but he will get caught up every now and then, especially if he's young. If he's the big man on high school campus, he could get caught busting up in a lot of girls' sweet, sugary walls, right? Shout out to the twins over there. But the Chad doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to take her too many dates. He doesn't have to show any travel acumen. He doesn't have to show any intelligence. All he has to do is show up. Now, people think that people hate the Chad or Tyrone when they talk about the Chad or Tyrone. People don't hate the Chad or Tyrone. The Chad and Tyrone is a bookmark phrase for men who get things easily. And as such, women don't have rules for Chad and Tyrone. Now,
Exactly. The Chad or Tyrone, he don't get no rules. You know, it's similar like the real beautiful woman. Like a man might have a bunch of standards for like a woman, like she has to cook, she has to obey, she has to do all this stuff. But if that woman is like his 10, meaning she has the total hourglass package or something like that, a lot of those rules that he has is going to slide out the window. That is why I'm glad for me. I look at the looks, but I look at the personality as well. But a lot of men, at least 50 to 60%, will get mesmerized with the looks if she is fine enough. I just had to show that I'm being even here. But women, females, ladies, y'all do the same thing. If that dude is your pinnacle of perfection of how he look as a man, you know, the height, the stature, and all that other stuff, all those rules that you have that you be saying on Facebook and making your little TikTok videos, they go all out the window. This guy, he's the guy that, you know, you have some nice gump take you to dinner jumping through hoops, and he's the guy that will text you at 3 a.m. or text you before the date saying like, yo, I'm coming through. Or can I come through? I'm pretty sure most of the time they just put like a short answer of like either you down or not, because they have a roster full of females that they can go to. And this is another thing with the 20/80 rule. So, you know, I know not all women go for the money, you know. Otherwise, I don't know, I guess y'all do. Y'all go also for the looks. And it has to be one of those types of dudes, you know, which a lot of times that could fit with the Pookie and Ray too. But if he has that, that is when it becomes an issue. Not for him, but for you. And also for that nice guy or gump or simp that is trying to court you, doing all the heavy work, and you are chasing after that Chad or Tyrone that's not really paying you too much attention. That doesn't mean that they are bad people. It's just that, their motivation is different and they have a lot of options. So they're kind of like, it is like whatever. Jason Momoa, he's also, I would say, a Chad. And I do think, once again, I don't want you to get this wrong. That doesn't mean that they can, like a Chad or Tyrone can be a good guy or a bad guy. I guess it depends on their upbringing, their morals, and stuff like that. But I do think the same way with like the woman that's really beautiful, young and beautiful, that it's so easy, unless if their parents was really on point with them, for them to get spoiled of having people just bend over backwards for them just because of their looks or their talent in the case of men. And anyway, let him continue this.
People don't hate the Chad or Tyrone. The Chad and Tyrone is a bookmark phrase for men who get things easily. And as such, women don't have rules for Chad and Tyrone. Now, they'll give themselves to the Chad or Tyrone and then create rules for him after the fact, which is not going to work.
And that's you.
The Chad or Tyrone has too much abundance. He doesn't even think about getting tail. This is what you have to understand about a Chad or Tyrone. Chad or Tyrone does not even think about getting tail. Tail gets him and he selects tail. Alright? And so this is what a PUA might try to make themselves out to be, a Chad or Tyrone, but they're two distinctly different people, and we're going to go over that, of why PUAs are made by women, alright, and why the Chad or Tyrone are made by women. And so here it is. A Chad doesn't think about getting tail, he just gets tail. Now, Chad and Tyrone doesn't have to be great in bed at all. He doesn't have to be great in bed, and this is what women find out the hard way. Have you ever heard of a woman say, yeah, I was with this person, and he sucked in bed. Yeah, he was well equipped, but he sucked in bed. Yes, I have big salamis, and I'm going to say pause after all of these. I've had giant salamis, and it wasn't that good. He didn't know how to work it. He really wasn't really listening to my needs. He just busted his nut, and he got up. This is what Chad does. Chad don't care. Women find out. This is when they say,
and that's you.
Right? This is when they say, we're exhausted by the jerks. These are the Chads and Tyrones. Now, the PUAs and the players are going to be in there too. But this is what they mean when they're exhausted by the jerks. They're trying to convert Chad into marriage material, and oftentimes a Chad or Tyrone will get married. And what we have to understand about a Chad or Tyrone, he has no game. He has no masculine frame. He has nothing because he's never needed it. And oftentimes a Chad will get easily manipulated. I did pause. He will get easily manipulated because the Chad doesn't necessarily have to have game. Alright, the Chad just is. The Tyrone just is. He doesn't have great conversation. He doesn't say the right things at the right time. He doesn't have counters to objections. He doesn't. Women think a Chad is dumb, and he probably is dumb. Because he doesn't need to be smart. Now, here's the reasons why women create Chads. Because most men who aren't Chads and Tyrones most men that aren't Chads and Tyrones look at Chad and Tyrone and they want to be Chad and Tyrone. And for this simple reason and this reason only, it's because Chad and Tyrone, above any of these other forms of men, get the women in their best years with little to no effort. I'm going to repeat that again. Chad and Tyrones are not PUAs. PUAs are wannabe Chads. Let me tell you again. Chads and Tyrones, they get the best years with little to no effort of all the available women. PUAs wish they were Chads. PUAs emulate the Chad. PUAs wish they were Tyrone. They emulate the Tyrone of all characteristics. And we'll get to the PUAs and the players next, because they're fake Chads. The Chad gets the best women. I'm going to tell you, the Chads get the best women in their best years, bar none. they get to clean the table off first. Right off the rip, right off the school, they get the cheerleader, they get the halfway cockeyed girl, they get the fat girl, they get all AIDS in their prime when they're legal, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Chad wipes the table with everybody up front, and this is the person that men want to be, and why women create these men, because they offer these men, these Chads, their best years first. All right, and this is why men want to be Chads. Now, the reason why women hate Chads is because oftentimes Chads underperform. They underperform in all areas because they don't have to perform. They get the best years. Now, once they got it, what else do they need to do? What do they need to do? And Chads don't have necessarily like I said, they're non-discreet, but they're non-discretionary. Chads obey anything as long as it's given to them. Chads don't text at night. Chads don't do nothing. Chads don't check in on you. Chads don't do a damn thing. But he underperforms because Chads oftentimes, in his book, he gets the job done. He got you with very little effort. So why have a need to perform? All right, so let me just cover this again. Reason why women create Chads is because men see that Chads get the women in their best years first. That's reason number one. And then reasons why women end up hating the Chad,
And that's you.
is because the Chad underperforms. He does not have to live up to expectation. And then he knows that, even instinctively, he knows that if he doesn't live up to expectation, he loses nothing. He's going to get another chance. He's going to get another chance relatively quickly. And many times this woman still wants that guy, not because he performs well, it's because the competition for him is so steep. Now, let's get in here. Let's remove this. The Chad and Tyrone. That's the first man that woman create instinctively.
Okay, so you guys got that. That's a Chad or Tyrone. You know, Chads and Tyrone make females respond like this.
Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise. And flick. Oh, flick too hard, damn it!
Should we help them? Eventually.
Okay. So, and this is stuff like, I guess, I'd thought of when I was younger. But see, this is why sometimes I think men are just a little bit realistic. Like, you know, I know I'm not the best looking man. You know, I'm pretty sure my looks are like on the average scale. Maybe my personality pushes me up a couple pegs. Maybe a little bit of my money and stuff like that, you know, also gives me a couple pegs. But as far as what most women are looking for, there are lots of guys above me. So, you know, the only thing that I can somewhat give that I notice most men do not is that I'm genuine, and that, you know, I live life with my heart on my sleeve, and, you know, I try to treat people how I want to be treated. But I know that's not what most females think about until they get a lot older, and when they're not as attractive, or they have a bunch of kids, or, you know, their life is really a mess, and their options are limited. So, you know, hey, it is what it is. So I have no hate for Chad and Tyrone. Sometimes I wish I was one of those dudes, you know, even if it was for just a week or a day. You know, I just would want to keep the same personality that I have, because that's the only thing I think, that whether you're the most beautiful woman or you are like the Chad or Tyrone, you get used to going through life getting stuff easy, and you take a lot of things for granted until you start losing, you know, the skills or the looks or whatever it is, and then it dawns on you what's most important. And for a lot of people, it might be too late then. So, you know, it's something else I want to add to this, and I can't think of it right now. But I think this is something I want to add to the previous video that I did, if women can love men unconditionally. Actually, I just remembered it. So sometimes when women, whether it's lust, it starts with lust, and because they're investing into that dude and into that Chad and Tyrone, then they fall for them. Because like I say, if you're investing, putting stuff in, you're going to start having feelings or feeling attached to that person, and that's where love begins. So those women chasing the Chad or Tyrone, they put most of this stuff in, and because the guy is taking for granted how much options that he has, or like he don't have to put in as much effort as most men have to put in. You know, he's just gonna hit and quit. And in his case, like, some dudes do it just to be brutal or just to be nasty, but in his case, you know, I guess he's just doing it as it is what it is. You know, if we still go out, we go out. If we don't, we don't. You know, he's real nonchalant with that type of stuff. So hopefully this helps both men and women see this type of man right here. I have some other types of men that I'm going to put on other types of, I'm going to put on some other videos. So I'm going to make this like a little mini series, you know, because I'm going to have the PUA, the pickup artists, the players, and I'm going to put them all together. I'll have the gentlemen, I'll have the bad boys, the Pookie and Ray Rays, and I may lightly touch on the Gumps and the Simps. Anyway, thanks for coming by. I'll hit you with another video as soon as possible. If you didn't already, hit the like button, subscribe, and have a good night. Okay, guys, I'll see you later. Out.
I still wanna run to you. Am I breaking through? Do you feel me too?
Pando made it.
I still wanna run to you.